Serra Elinsen's Awoken. Prologue. Crash. Begin.
Prologue. Crashing. The preternatural landscape was descended upon by a fog. Everything around me was hidden in misty grey. Even my own senses seemed distant, as if someone else were feeling for me. I stood on stone, ankle deep in shallow water. The smell of the sea wafted in from far away. How did I get here? And where was here? I couldn't remember anything. Not my family, my friends, my home, my dark past or my murky future. Not a thing but my name. Andromeda, I named myself quietly. The word was louder than I thought it would be, breaking through the deep silence. The mist cleared slightly, as if listening, and stony ruins seemed to stretch on around me for miles. A new sound joined my echoing voice, the sound of waves crashing over rocks. Crash. Now, in the foggy distance, I could see tall, crumbling towers. A pale sun hid behind a cloudy sky, and beyond the cliff's edge, just in front of me, I gasped for a moment, was a drop in the raging ocean. 500 feet, 1,000. I'd never been good at distances, but I knew the fall would kill me. I took a few steps back, each one violating that sacred silence with another soft splash. Below, the waves. Crash. A cold wind slammed into me from around the sea, knocking me further away. From the cliff's edge onto the ground. My head spun for a few delirious moments, and my hands grasped at the smooth, slippery stone to push myself up.
Glahar Fathagen, Josp Silm so Dal Ira.
I looked around for a moment. Nothing but the ruins around me. Then where was that murmuring coming from?
Josp Sam Fathagen, Norjarm Kutulu, Girder City Ia.
I gasped. It was impossible. My heart pounded relentlessly in my chest. The stone itself was whispering.
Fathagen Norfarm Kutulu, Girder City Ia. Hungluif, Ja Mugulve, Naf Kutulu, Roya Vga, Nagel Fathagen. Read, damn you!
And then I heard something echoing in the distance. A reply. It was a mighty roar from the depths, like the proudest of whale songs given form.
Girdar isio jak te irna.
It was so beautiful. Even though I didn't understand what the words meant, they sang to me. It was a song of freedom and release, of overwhelming joy and individuality. Really? When it ended, the silence came back and I felt emptier than I ever had before.
Frugul nuimak rafis per kloim nangfoi.
The song came back suddenly, longer and more triumphant. It was the sweetest sound I ever heard. The voice of an angel.
Sugumal! Shashog! Frod! Gothulowai!
The ground shook again. I was so lost in that most beautiful of songs that once again I fell to the stone. I peered up from the ground and marveled. The ocean itself opened up below me, and rising from it, a vision in glistening emerald, was a gargantuan creature most people might call monstrous. Even through the mist, I could make out what looked to be huge, grasping squid tentacles upon its face, and enormous wings unfurling from its back. Its muscled body was like a man's, a strange and green-hued in the distance. Yet for all of the peculiar features, its eyes were the most strange and wonderful of all. They were black but not black, all colors and no colors, shining and lightless, warm and cold, loving and hating, good and evil, joyful and sorrowful. It was like looking into two glistening orbs of eternity, except on a cyclopean creature of power. Crash, crash, crash. The creature waded through the ocean with slow thighs. Its eternity orbs focused on tiny little me. Over the rolling sea, it hovered above even my magnificent cliff. I watched with bated breath as it grew closer, closer, now close enough to crouch down before me and stare, sizing me up. There was suddenly a burst of light and wind that knocked me to the ground. My eyes flooded with flashes of color as I tried to look before me. Oh my. On the stone, standing above me, was a boy. Or he looked like a boy, but how could he be? How could someone so perfect be a mere human? Do I really have to read this?
Yes, you do!
He had long, unkempt black hair, so black that it glistened almost blue in a misty light. It whipped above in the wind like a dark flag. He looked down at me with intense eyes that seemed strangely familiar. Behind him, the monster was gone. Where was it now?
Human!
He muttered at me. His voice seemed to echo from everywhere at once, and yet it came from nowhere but him.
Why art thou upon this isle? Art thou a servant of Azathoth?
I began, but my voice was caught in my throat. It was so intimidating, and yet... My eyes made a trail down his lean, muscled chest, following droplets of water down its strong body. He's like a Greek god.
Answer me, mortal!
He roared. I winced. No, I squeaked nervously. I don't even know who Azamoth is.
Dost thou not know Azathoth, mortal?
Said the boy derisively.
Keep reading.
He turned around to stare out over the ocean, his hair tossing droplets of water. I stared intently at him. Who are you? I asked carefully, startled by my own bravery.
Who art I? That is not a revelation for a weak mortal such as thou.
But... He turned around. His passionate eyes burned with virility and rage.
Begone, dreaming human! Leave me to my thoughts!
The stone beneath me crumbled into slabs, and the ocean vanished. The towers fell in upon themselves, and the sun dissolved beneath the grey mist. And I was falling too. Down, 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 down.